All right, so it is time. This is the Infinite Investment Game. I'll talk about alternative investments, collectibles, and this is not investment advice, but hopefully you can use this information to just make better decisions as far as building collection and avoid losing money. The big thing is in this video is that Vegas Dave is going to be right by 2024 and Gary Vee is going to be wrong. The reason why I say this is that if anyone isn't familiar, Vegas Dave made a prediction probably in 2020, 2021 that the sports card market is going to basically hit rock bottom by 2020. I think he over-exaggerated, saying that stuff was going to go to zero. I don't think much of anything is going to go to zero, but he did talk about a lot of manipulation going on in the sports card market, which is true. And I do think he was probably, I don't know, 100%, but it is likely that he knew people personally who were manipulating, or he was part of the people who were manipulating the market. Just when he made a prediction that, you know, some Mike Trout cards would sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars and even over $1 million. And then he owned some of these cards that sold for very high levels, makes me think that there was some market manipulation. It's like, oh, well, how do you really predict it? And he even talked about this stuff before Gary Vaynerchuk did. So I don't think he has insight like that. If he did, he would be a billionaire. I think him and probably friends that he has and people that he knows are manipulating the market, and people are still manipulating the market and have always been. But very wealthy people came in to manipulate the market, and a lot of people have gotten caught up into this. So I do think this is going to happen, and here's the reason why, and you can disagree with me, and please like, comment, and subscribe. But part of the reasons are inflation. People think cars are an inflation hedge, and if you have a 1957 Topps Bill Russell PSA 8, that's an excellent inflation hedge. Excellent. If you have, you know, a 1958 Topps Jim Brown PSA 9, excellent inflation hedge. You know, if you have for baseball, Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle was 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle, I don't know, PSA 7, 8, SGC 7, great inflation hedge. But if you have mass-produced cards, you know, 2018 Panini Prism Silver, Luka Doncic PSA 10, that's horrible. If you have some of these guys, Patrick Mahomes, all these guys who haven't won multiple championships and multiple MVPs yet, and I think you need to do both to be considered an all-time great and where people are actually going to care about you. And none of these people, Giannis is probably the closest one is like as established. At least he has a championship, finals MVP, 2 MVPs. But these things aren't going to last. Like if you're in the modern car market, I don't even care if you're like Michael Jordan. I know he's one of the most popular athletes ever, best NBA player ever, large collectability, people love him. His stuff isn't immune from getting hit and taking large losses, and we've seen it already, and it's going to continue to go down, I think, really because of rising interest rates, inflation. You do have higher pop counts, so a lot of supply. This is going to hurt other people's finances from poor to middle class, and even a lot of, I would say, upper middle class. So only really the top 1 to 3% of people are going to be operating these markets, and maybe it's only 1% or 0.1%. And then you add in just stuff in Ukraine, but you know, famines that are going to be happening starting 2022, well, really into 2022, starting 2023. And then you have other issues such as famines may lead to more wars around the world, disruption of supply chains, all of that. So if all of that happens, you're going to have sport, and then just all this is going to be recession. Not just United States, but it's going to spread around the world, and it could lead to a depression. So you're going to have these issues. I don't know why people think that they're going to quote unquote buy the dip when things have been so inflated, and they're still buying stuff that was at an all-time high a year ago or 2 years ago, when really you want things to not buy things when it was all-time high. Like, we still have a long way to go down, and I don't think for most cars, and people don't recognize that. And there's stuff in the modern car market that's just way overinflated. I think stuff pre 1980 is fine, but stuff after that is gonna get killed. And even some surprising stuff, some Michael Jordan, not all, but a lot of Michael Jordan stuff, a lot of Kobe stuff, a lot of LeBron stuff, a lot of Brady stuff. I still think there's a lot of speculation there. A lot of, for hockey, Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin, for UFC, George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, John Jones, Conor McGregor. This stuff is going to get hit. And I think the recession is going to be in 2023 because baby boomers are going to enter mass retirement. And that's a lot of money that's been put into the system that's going to be taken out. And that's where most economists, before the pandemic, before all this, were thinking when their next recession would hit. People were talking about this for decades, really. So you have this issue. And there's a lot that needs to be done about it to fix it. And I think the car market is overall influenced by macroeconomic trends and political trends. So people don't know, like when you're in a recession, it normally takes a year for people to really figure out that you're in a recession. And 2023, I think, is the time it's going to happen. And 2024, people will realize it. And that's when the domino effects will really fully spread out to everyone. And yeah, he'll probably be right. But that doesn't mean that Gary Vaynerchuk will be wrong. In the long term, we're talking about 20 years from now, 30 years from now. In the long term, that stuff is going to be more valuable, especially 1986 Fleer. If you're trying to hold PSA 10 for a long time, yes. But if you're buying now, you're still kind of buying high when you can get it at a much higher, a much better discount. So that's still an issue that people don't understand. And I do think others, investors, like the sports card investor, needs to apologize for what he said about Vegas Dave, and quite a few other people. And I think a lot of other people are going to take the money they made and leave the hobby, in a sense. So that's quite unfortunate. And most people are going to be left holding the bag. And a lot of that stuff will never return to what it was. So let me know what you think. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know what you want me to hear me talk about in the future.